Hi ladies, welcome back to our channel. I want to talk to you about my 1 week of keto and let you know how everything went. Go ahead and hit subscribe so you can get our weekly video updates. All right, let's get started. So I switched from 2 weeks of carnivore, and if you want to check out that, we have the full 2 weeks, what I ate, how I felt, how my weight fluctuated in that time on our channel, and it's also linked below. With that said, I decided to switch to keto because I thought it was the easiest transition without introducing carbs back in. So what keto is, it's basically eating meats, vegetables, and keeping carbs under 50 grams. I basically just try to stick under 20 grams and limited everything else. I try to keep it under 20 grams, which was kind of easy. I didn't really have to keep track after a few days because you start getting used to what can you eat, and then you just stay away from the things that do have carbs. So in terms of how I'm feeling, I have to say I am feeling great. I feel better on keto than on carnivore, and that's probably because I absolutely love my veggies. And if you do watch those videos, you'll notice I mentioned a lot, I really missed veggies. So every single time I'd feed my kids their food and I'd see them eating tomatoes and cucumbers and mushrooms and all these veggies, I totally missed it. So introducing it back was super nice, and it made me not miss any carbs or any desserts or anything. So it was easy transitioning to it because I didn't feel the need for carbs or desserts since I already had like 2 weeks of carnivore. My body was so desperate for some change or some more different types of food that it was easy to transition to it. So that I really enjoyed. In addition, I didn't have to deal with all the leftovers that my kids didn't finish. I was able to like eat up most of their leftovers, and then I would just eliminate like the carb part of it. So it was super easy to keep track of leftovers. And on the carnivore, if you've noticed, I had a bunch of little leftovers that they constantly had to like finish. It was just really hard to keep track of. So this made it super easy. At first, I have to say the challenging part about switching to keto was not knowing what to make. Once I got into the groove of things, maybe like day 3 or 4, then it was much easier to continue day to day. So I made it super easy because again, I also had to think of meals for my kids since some of the things were not able to be eaten by like our little one. So for breakfast, I typically had eggs with some kind of sauteed vegetables, whether it was mushrooms or zucchini or even into an omelet. I just did all different types of eggs. That made it really easy when I woke up in the morning. I just went ahead and knew that I was making eggs, and then depending on what vegetables I had in the fridge, I was able to do it without putting much thought into it. Did you guys know that there's actually keto bread? Those that are probably on it know that, but if you're a person who really struggles to replace bread, I was super excited to find out. It is nice to have avocado toast with eggs on top and vegetables in the morning, and using that bread, once it's toasted, honestly, you could barely tell the difference between like regular bread and keto bread. It is amazing. When it came to lunch, again, the first 3 or so days, I kept looking up different recipes and seeing what to make, and I was like, this is not realistic for a homeschooling mama, and so I had to find something that's super easy and super quick, and so I went ahead and just made myself a salad every single day, and I found a really good recipe for a dressing that really took barely any time, like less than 2 minutes to make, and it was super easy and convenient. Now, when it came to salads, I knew that I would get sick of it if it was like the same thing. So I just kind of had a bunch of different toppings. I was able again to look in my fridge and see, well, what do I have left? What do I need to finish up? And so I would throw that in there. But typically it obviously included either spinach or some kind of lettuce, the greens. And then I either did goat cheese or feta cheese, sometimes Parmesan cheese. And then it was just a matter of what toppings that I want. Usually some kind of nut, pecans, walnuts, something like that to make sure that I have enough protein in there. Sometimes I had bacon, sometimes I had ham, other times I had chicken on top. And then the other toppings varied. Sometimes I did tomatoes, other times I did green onions or red onions. It just really varied. What I really liked it is, again, it was different every single day, so that really helped in terms of not making it boring and the same thing every single time. I did use the same dressing the full week, but it was so flavorful and so delicious. It basically included some like bacon grease, garlic, and balsamic vinegar, mixed it up and tossed it over the salad. Absolutely delicious, but I do have to say that I was hesitant when I first made it. I was thinking, how is this gonna really provide a lot of flavor for the salad? And it was really good. I also sometimes tossed a few strawberries or blueberries in the salad just to add a little bit of sweetness factor to it. That way I didn't feel the need to sit down and eat a whole container of blueberries just to satisfy that sweetness that I basically missed out on for 2 whole weeks. Now dinner was even more tricky, and that's because I think I got used to not thinking at all about dinner for myself. And so I kept having to think, okay, how do I take this regular recipe that I've been using for so long and tweak it to meet my own needs? So that was a little bit challenging. I feel like sometimes it's just easier to get rid of all the recipes that you personally have if they don't meet the keto requirement, and just look up recipes and basically add in anything that you want to do for your own kids. So if it was spaghetti, I made the meatballs and then the sauce, and instead of doing it obviously over regular pasta, which my kids did, I did it over Zoodles, and that was actually my first time having them, and I was really impressed. My kids on the other hand, were not so impressed. They still wanted the pasta. So even though they had the Zoodles, I also included a little pasta in there, and they all loved it. I think my salads at lunch were so filling that some of the dinners, I didn't even feel the need to eat a lot. Like one of the dinners was a homemade pico de gallo that I made with some pork rinds. Somebody said that I must have some pork rinds on hand, and so it was actually one of my first times having them, and they were really good. It gave that crunchiness to it, and I was able to scoop up my pico de gallo, and it was just really, really good. Another time I ended up doing salami with like cream cheese inside and tons of vegetables like cucumbers and radishes. I love radishes, I have to say, and just a bunch of different raw vegetables on the side. However, even though I absolutely love salami, I did try to limit it just because I wanted to do more wholesome meats. One of the nights we ended up having tacos. There was so many other options for the taco shell online. I just decided to kind of skip it and just do a taco salad instead. It still honestly satisfied that taco need, but I did see people online like melting cheese and making like a cheese tortilla type. There are so many other options out there, so I'm super excited to find more recipes and then incorporate them into our eating. But I absolutely just love that it feels like it's like a whole new world of cooking. And if you know me, I absolutely love new recipes and I do enjoy cooking. Granted, I did not like it when we first got married. Okay, so in terms of weight, I basically have stayed at 115, 116. I haven't lost any more, which I'm totally fine with. My clothes fit so much better. I feel great. I also started working out, and that has been about 4 times a week or so. I'm really enjoying it. It's giving me the energy that I need, and I'm really, really liking it. So I also want to clarify why I'm doing this. I think the carnivore diet gave the idea that I'm so focused on the weight, and yes, I was initially just to break it and fit back into my clothes, but being where I am, I don't feel the need to lose the last few pounds because I feel good, and again, the working out has really given me more strength and energy, so I'm good where I'm at. I'm not using the keto diet to lose any more weight. I'm at the place where I am so happy where I am. So even if I switch to including more carbs into my meals, I think it'll be fine. My favorite thing about this keto lifestyle is just the fact that you can incorporate so many different foods, and it makes you obviously not miss a lot. Now, I do have to say I was surprised to find out that you're not supposed to have beans on the keto diet. I mean, it makes sense, but I guess I just didn't think about it. And so I do have to say not being able to have those does make me miss them. A lot of recipes call for it, so it's obviously easier to just throw them in and then eat it like that. So that's another reason why I'd be fine with just doing like a low carb lifestyle, which we used to do, and now I want to be back on it. It's super easy and super manageable to do. I want to get healthy. I want to make sure that as I get older, instead of losing energy and just feeling fatigued and tired and chasing the kids and being wiped, I want to make sure that I have the energy to chase them around. And as they get older, I want to keep up with them when it comes to activities. When they're playing outside and they're playing a sport, I want to be a part of that. I want to be able to run around and chase them and not be exhausted and wiped. So in terms of continuing this, I definitely want to continue with it. I'm okay with having beans, and there's actually people on keto who actually do include beans, and so it just makes sense that you can eat what you would like to eat, just make sure they're wholesome foods. One of the things that have been really eye-opening, I kind of had an idea of this, but I think it just brought it to a whole nother level, and so I just checked all the ingredients that we have for like condiments and dressings, and some of them were made with honey, which was awesome, but many other things had sugar in it, and I was kind of surprised. Like our mayo had sugar, and one of the most shocking ones was I ordered frozen fruit for a smoothie, and it had stevia in it. And I know some people are okay with it. I just prefer them not to add extra things that are not needed. Like honestly, I really don't need anything extra on my frozen fruit. There were a few items that I was just surprised by the ingredients. And I try to check the ingredients all the time, but obviously there's times that I miss it. And so with that said, it has really helped me to pay attention to what I buy and what's in it. We were really big about not doing processed foods, but sure enough, you don't actually look at every tiny little thing you have in your house. It has really made me look at everything that we buy, including our frozen fruit. So there you have it, 1 week of keto after 2 weeks of carnivore. Instead of doing an update in 1 week, I'm thinking I'm just gonna share some of the recipes with you guys, what I've learned along the way, one of the jam recipes that has absolutely no added sweetener to it. I just absolutely love this new path that we're on. If you found anything useful in this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and go ahead and comment below with if you've tried keto or if you're on it. All right, ladies, I hope you have a wonderful day and we will see you next time.